Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello there.
Happy Sunday. Obviously, we've got a different crowd today than we had the last time. There is an outnumbering in the opposite direction. Instead of having men and me, we have all the women and per Rurin, I'm going to enunciate it, with us
Here we go
today.
again.
You're gonna trip up every time for that one. Yeah.
Every time. It's just going to happen. So we have our wonderful representative of Anorian, because this is how this is going to work today, I guess. Rasani, big muscles, real nice fuck, lovely person. Then there's me for Duran Ririn. I'm just going to call myself Rin. Maybe that'll help. Just say Rin. Yeah. Then we have Tiani for Spine's Reach, who just hit 199. So I want to say that on here. Congratulations. Almost there. Yay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
congratulations to you.
Get out of my
That's a big
arrows,
deal.
my areas.
I will soon be done, and then you can take over.
I was gonna say congratulations, but also get out of my areas.
Get out of my grass, basically. Get out of my yard.
Yeah,
It's okay. That's basically what I said to Kurak before he was done. It was like,
Yeah.
"Can you be done soon?"
And
Yeah.
I think people were saying that to me too. So that's a pretty familiar feeling when you've got like just want people to get out of there. Just be done, please, so I can be done. Yeah. And then obviously Rurin from Bloodlock. Yay, joining us again. Fantastic times. Anyone want to say anything to the crowd before we just kind of get right into our first kind of topic for today?
I haven't even
I
looked
know
at.
you've got something that looks like it's a swear jar, and so like
Oh
that
yeah.
might be a bad choice to have talk first.
Okay, well here's I'm going to teach people how to use this. If you catch us saying fuck, shit, any of those things, you can do exclamation mark swear and it will count it. So feel free to do that throughout the stream if you would like to keep track of
Oh,
how often
Jesus.
we are swearing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wait, come on now. Jesus isn't one.
No, that's not one.
Yeah, you can't use Jesus, God, or any of those common ones. It has to be an actual, like, according to
Like
the
an actual
language.
Fuck, yeah.
It has to be an actual fuck or an
Yeah.
actual shit. Things that I don't consider a swear word, but other people do just because of connotation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
But it's because of last time when we just, I'm not even gonna say everyone else. I went ham on the swear word, so I was like, you know what? I'm bringing back the swear jar. We're gonna have to have it. Okay. Anywho, anything else people want to say? Yeah, I guess cunt would be one. I know people don't like that word in particular, so I try.
I think
not
people
to.
are becoming okay with it.
A little bit better.
It takes away the power for people to use it against you when it just becomes something you call a friend.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's, I think, kind of yeah.
It was like I used to be so offended by it for the longest time. Then I realized, why am I putting power behind that word?
Now
that
I'll
doesn't
call,
need to be
like,
there?
an egg that, if it cracks in a way I don't like, so, like...
I had a friend from Ireland who used that like every other word.
Exactly. I'm like, people in
Oh,
other
yeah.
countries just use it naturally as part of their vernacular. So why do we care? Just why?
I mean, in Sweden, those words are basically part of Swedish now.
Oh, are they? Nice.
Yeah, we use them all the time, even when we speak Swedish. So
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
I like it. I like it a lot. I know that happens with Spanish. I talk to most of my, well, not most, but several of my teammates are in different regions of Mexico, in Mexico. And they tell me all the time of like some of the words that kind of come in from American slang into theirs. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Kind of cool.
yeah.
Okay. Well, now that we've gotten the kind of more awkward bits out and announced the swear jar, so thank you very much for that reminder, let's kind of get into our first topic, which is all going to be a series of things related to the gods. This is the big part why we wanted Rasani to be here, because we
Yeah,
didn't want you to miss
I've got a
out.
lot to say on this particular one.
Exactly. So we didn't want you to miss out. Wyatt definitely sent some really good general like line items to go through here. And I think we'll start with the first one, which was: has there been major noticeable differences in the way the cities interact with their sapiens pantheon gods? As far as like tension, curiosity, ever since the whole vision of what Varian is and what he did and all of that? Has there in each of your individual organizations been any additional changes or anything?
Um, I would like to honestly start with Bloodlock and Spine Surge because I feel they have the potential to be the ones that have had the least amount of change
I
in
agree.
how you interact. So it'd be interesting to hear from you guys first, and then we can, you know,
Spill into the massive changes of Enorian, you mean?
yeah.
Pretty much.
Enorian's a pretty interesting place to RP right now.
Well, from my part and in Spine's Reach, the main thing that happened was basically an exodus from Bamath's order, I think.
Right.
Uh, Tiani left Bamath's order, so she's no longer part of an order. And I think there were a lot of other people who just, left as well. Some of them were just in the congregation or but I think Bloodlock has remained kind of staunch supporters. What are you saying, Weirin?
Not really. I would actually put most of Bloodlock in the like despise Bamatha's camp
Really?
for the most part.
Huh.
They
Yeah,
have more heavily leaned towards Evolve, haven't they?
yeah. Assign and Chakrasul both support Bamathis, but most of the players don't really support Bamathis anymore.
No.
But why? I mean, is it
Severn is
just
barely there. He hasn't been around much at all. I haven't seen him at all, and it's a bit of a shame.
That's
He's a patron
actually
up in North.
one of the things I've been trying, like, that I've struggled with in character to try and get people to talk about or figure out, I guess, is why Bloodlock would have an issue with the Varian thing and Bamathis in that regard. Because it doesn't seem to me like something Bloodlock would have an issue with, really. I mean, it essentially goes along with what Bloodlock would do and purports to be about. But yeah, a lot of people don't they're not fond of Varian and because of that not supportive of Bamathis.
well, I have to wonder about that because technically I agree with you. Like Varian did essentially what undead and vampires are doing, but at just a god tier
At the
level.
massive scale.
Yeah.
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 So that's
I
I
interesting.
mean,
can understand, I guess, if you look at it from the perspective of, or at the very least, the in-game perspective of people who become vampires or undead are usually doing so because they want to be the most powerful thing in the room. So I could see them really disliking it, not because, oh, he is a world eater, but because, oh, I can't do that, and I am angry that somebody else can do it. I could
I,
see that as being justification.
Yeah.
And see that hasn't like people really haven't expressed that justification, which I find kind of valid, or at least more valid than like he did this bad thing and like which
Right,
which is
right.
Yeah.
yeah.
actually been a conversation that's been had in Bloodlock. Like he did this bad thing. I'm like, we do bad things like all the time.
That's your kind of thing.
Consistently, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I've
your
had
whole
that
vibe.
conversation because I was like, but you like I don't know.
You have a city rank called Orphan Slayer. Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
It's
I
like
mean, Spine's
I'll
Reach.
never not make fun of you for it.
I would
It
like to
makes total
change it.
sense for Spine's Reach to distance themselves, even though Severn being the patron and he being the spy master of Bamathis. It's still from Tiana's perspective at least. I can't speak for everyone else, but she was never truly a Bamathis supporter, as everyone probably knows by now. Um, but she was sort of pissed off at Varian already for making Severn join Bamathis order instead of, managing his own. So she was not very happy with Varian before this even happened. So learning this and being like, well, there might be some of the Albedi gods that are reasonable, so why not try to communicate in some way? As long as we can, keep them away from helping Olsana, which is, a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people in Vine's Reach, they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of them are curious about the Albedi gods because
Which makes sense. It's
they are
unknown
they are
knowledge.
curious. They want
Yeah.
knowledge about them, and they want to talk about them. They want to explore.
Yeah.
So Bamathis has never really managed to grab hold of Spine's Reach that hard. So
Yeah, they're too. Spine's Reach just seems like it's too much about knowledge to just blindly accept everything that Bamathis feeds them. There's definitely going to be some players that are, and are definitely for that Force sapience.
The Sisson were super into him for a bit.
Yeah,
I think that has since changed, but the Sisson were super duper into Bamathis for a while.
That was mostly because of Fezzik. Same thing when I had Agothaxel over there. When I was in the Archivist, it was definitely a lot more people were in Bamathis for the same idea of we're trying to save sapiens. We're doing something more important. But now the tone has just changed.
Right.
And I feel like they're like, you know what? We're kind of wised up on your shit. We don't trust you so much as we used to. But I do feel like I feel like Bloodlock still has the opportunity of hey, we can pretend like we're trying to do the better thing for the rest of the world while following this guy that, hey, his daddy is the ultimate undead of a sort, or,
immortal.
Yeah, it has its whole other layer that it didn't have before to me.
Well, and that's something Bloodlock hasn't taken that Spine's Reach did, is Bloodlock hasn't really gone for the whole Albedi thing at all. That hasn't taken root. Nobody's really interested in pursuing that I've seen.
Yeah, I can see that because it's so heavily in Mogadou. I can't even say that word very well. In Mog, and in Enorian, they're just not going to probably naturally have as much interest in Bloodlock because they don't have as much. Yeah, it's like they don't have as much interest in gods in general anyway.
And Enorian is in an interesting place where we have Dwamthi.
Yeah.
And we know are already tied to Dajani. Not to mention we have had a Monarch temple in Enorian even after the outlawing of Albedi worship. Several player characters within Enorian, myself included, really worked hard to make sure that people who would say it has to come down didn't know it was there. Just kind of let it sink into the background because of our relationship with Mogadou.
Yeah.
Right.
And because we found out that, Albedi gods are the Mogadou spirits, and even if you were like, well, I want to protect my gods, there was still a big portion of Enorian that was like, the fucking Mun have been through enough. So, the minute we got some inkling that there were some of the Albedi gods that were okay to worship, and those were the ones the Mun were worshipping anyway, we kind of immediately sunk our teeth into the idea that we could make right something that a lot of players in Enorian really regret having done.
Yeah.
So we jumped absolutely into, okay, it's no longer outlawed. I haven't heard of a player character in Enorian openly worshipping Albedi gods, but I have heard a lot of them, talking about how they could. It's sort of a I'm sure at some point we'll have Mun players or NPCs even that are openly worshiping Albedi gods. But it is a culture change that pretty much not everybody was happy with it. But most of the city, by and large, was like, no, this is a good choice. Although we do still have one that is outlawed.
Yeah.
Yes. Jeez, what is his name?
Uh,
No,
I
Betty God.
wonder.
You
Let's
only
I,
have
I
see.
feel like I copied.
Well, I mean,
But there's-
other than we
Let's
we
see.
banned the entirety of like the tumult ones,
Okay, yeah, I was like,
like
wait,
Alsana and all those. But there's
Yeah.
one, I believe, is Illimos, who is considered to be good aligned,
Oh yeah.
but is quite literally insane, and like would turn the land into flesh and all that kind of stuff. So like we kind of view it in a, I mean, he's not evil, but sometimes you can mean well but still do harm,
Yeah.
and that appears to be what is his situation. So he's
Called the
the,
rampant, right?
what was that?
He's called the rampant.
Yes, for the Mun, he's called the Heart.
Right.
And a lot, we've been using Mun text to kind of get inklings of how these gods are viewed by the Mun, because they're kind of the closest thing we have. Even people in the pious wards in Albedos, because we locked their gods away, don't super know a whole lot about their deities. So the thing that we have really to go off of is Mun scripture. And Ilmo is loved by the Mun as the Heart, but the Mun also weren't aware of how dangerous Olsana was.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where technically it's a god that we shouldn't have an issue with, but because of certain things, we kind of have to keep it outlawed.
Yeah. And
I mean, if you look at the gods in general, you have I think it's 4 groups, right? You have the tumult, you have the accord. Those are opposing forces.
Yeah.
And then you have the helm, and that's where Aetros, the time god, Odrav and Illimos are at.
Yes.
And then you have the other people, basically the other gods that are essentially, they're not defined in some way. They're the Eschaton Idaltu, Muadi, the gatekeeper, Dejani, Olsana, and the Faceless.
Yeah, those are the fundamentals.
yeah.
The fundamentals, right? So,
Yeah.
but among those, it's a few might be good, a few might be bad. It's a balanced thing. So
Right.
we assume that the helm is sort of the same thing. You have someone who's good, someone who's not.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's
Probably.
kind of because what we know of Mawadi so far is that he just wants to do his job.
Yeah.
That seems to be all he's about. Is please just let me do my job.
It's like, go
and
away.
it's
I just
interesting-
want to do my work and leave me alone.
It's interesting because his job is to transfer people to oblivion.
Right.
So that once you die, you aren't, one of the spirits in Dar's halls playing cards at a table. You are done.
Yeah.
The cycle that Varian tried to escape.
Yeah.
Mawadi is a servant to it, but in a way that, like, it doesn't appear to be malicious.
No.
It just is. It's the
he's
nature
just
of
the bookkeeper,
being.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if he decides you're not, ready to go to oblivion, then he has no problem putting you back like a fucking unripened avocado. He is unafraid of pushing you back into your body. He'll still do it. If you die in Albedos, you see
What
it.
he does. When you die in Barbados, you see it. It's like, no, sorry, the path is closed. Turn around, go, shoo shoo.
Go, get out of here.
Bye bye.
Here, I'm done.
Not yet.
Nope. I won't deal with you.
I do like the Albedo's death sequence where he just like shoves you.
Yep.
Yeah, he just is like, get out.
It's like, bye, bitch. Just go.
So I think it's probably safe to say that that's kind of what we're dealing with. Is we've got Mawadi and Dejani as at the very least neutral. Dejani, however, is expressed to be the perfect embodiment of light. That does not mean she's always kind.
Yeah.
That
No, no.
just means that she is always aligned with light.
Yeah.
So it's you actually can it's definitely interesting because as everybody is aware, I'm sure I'm obsessed with meeting Tajani and being absolutely torn between my father Damariel and my mother Tajani. But I can't wait to meet her. I bet she's wild. And it does make me curious about the Faceless One, because he's on the Chaos Plane. Probably not great for us. Probably not great.
Yeah. I
That's
have
gonna be a rough one.
I have so many thoughts when it comes to like astral and all of that. Like, how is that going to end up playing out? But we'll have to wait and see. Fun times.
I do love the Elbedi gods. This was one thing that we would talk about on the weekly milestone a lot, and I know Eric's hated the Elbedi gods, but I just love them.
I do too.
I
I
love
think they're fascinating.
They
Like,
are.
I
it's-
love unknowable eldritch horrors.
I do
the
too.
dual pantheon thing that Aetolia has is really interesting if explored.
Yeah.
Fully.
I'm excited for it, and I can segue into like Duran's side of it a little bit, which is not necessarily as impactful as what's happened in Enorian, and unfortunately, and I'm gonna have to say it, Rasani, just because it's a fact. I feel like it probably was meted just a little bit. I mean, not to the negative, but the person that made the post basically pulled the gun on posting it as soon as she possibly could. Like, as soon as she knew Enorian was probably going to do it, she was like, well, I'll ask the city. And like, two or three of us answered and said, okay, sure, we can stop outlawing it. That's fine. Didn't really get any input from the speakers or anything. Didn't go through official channels, and just was like, okay, that's good enough, and did the post.
This is Duran?
This is Duran. Yeah, this is Duran. So we rolled with it, and we ended up, most of us are fine. There's definitely still some internal people that are like kind of side-eyeing it a little bit and wondering, why did we do this? And there's been attempts at conversations to actually, like, make sure to notate which ones can be worshipped in laws and stuff, but we don't really want to go that far yet. There's even skepticism on some of the people that play Moon in their role play and everything. There's still some skepticism in Duran about allowing full on and just like encouraging it.
Right.
But there's definitely been a lot more discussions, and yeah, I feel like there's going to be a point where even in, some of the NPCs we have, because we have a bunch of Utari from an event like ages ago, whenever Pylon stuff happened, we have a bunch of them wandering around that. It'd be really cool to just see them, like you were saying, just start randomly, worshiping. Just occasionally say, praise to Johnny or some shit, as they're walking around the council. It could add some tension and just make things just a little bit more interesting. Variety in the NPCs.
Sure.
But definitely, I will say everyone is anti-variant. There is not a single person in Duran that is not like, he is the literal epitome of like anti-cycle. He was a coward, etc. They are very, I will say most of us are very extremely against him now. Just, full on, we already were calling Bamathis like the Oathbreaker and all the other stuff.
World Eater.
Yeah, now we're full on just like,
I will say, good for them. Good
Yeah.
for Bamathis and Varian getting some of the sexiest titles in the game.
Exactly. They've got like the best titles ever. But definitely it's a whole lot of just fuck them in Duran.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for it. I love it. I want to be that group that just hates on so many of the gods because it feels good. And it suits Duran. Like, they should be more concerned about Dendara and Durrani related things. They shouldn't really give a fuck as much about the rest of the world, unless it's going to affect what's going on with them. And that's my 2 cents for Duran, so I got it in there. Yay.
Interesting to
Yeah,
hear different perspectives from different cities. So
yeah, certainly.
sadly, I haven't been very involved in things. I've chatted sometimes, and I've participated in some city discussions and tells and such. But my focus has mostly been on bashing.
Well, yeah.
No,
You,
and T was right about the order. The order has. I mean, the order is like 3 people now
Yeah.
for Bamathis. Yeah.
poor Bamathis.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
kind of bad.
He
It's
lost
been
his position as divine advisory just after Tiani left
Oh.
in Spine's Reach.
yeah. It's been. I've said a few times. It's slightly. Like there are times where it's slightly disheartening because it's like 3 people and not even Shadow really likes him at this point, you know.
Yeah.
And that
I
can be a little disheartening
yeah.
just because it's so small, and
Oh, I feel you. I
That, but
recently switched to Demariel's order, and it's much the same. We have about 3 order members. 4, I think, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been like
you have
that
to
for a
remember though
while.
that these things go and come and go. I mean, seriously, the
Oh
Mothers
yeah.
has huge, and now it's small and might turn around.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
I
it's
it'll
it's the
mostly
same thing as coming to a fight. One time, Spirit has a lot of people. Soon it will be Shadow tilting the numbers. So these go back and forth a lot.
Yeah,
it
I
was
feel
mostly
like once
just the lore
there's.
thing.
Oh, sorry, Ruben.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it was mostly the lore. It's not like the size. It's more like the big lore dump and not expecting that Shadow would kind of like that there would be such a big chunk of Shadow that would also be like anti Bamathis at that point.
Hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And that being unexpected was kind of like okay, so now like Spirit already hated Bamathis, and now it's like these people that vaguely supported us are like I don't feel like supporting you anymore. And that was kind of the disheartening thing. 'Cause it was like it's
Yeah.
so small
Yeah.
versus almost the entire game.
Yeah, I feel like once there is like another event to show that Bamathis can actually lead, because he's had some losses and he's had kind of a rough time, and then this whole shit came out against him and Varian. I feel like if there's something that can really showcase him again and be like, okay, serious business, we do need him for some reason, then he will probably get a flooding of people again. Kind of
Right.
like what T was
Right.
saying, about it ebbs and flows. It's going to be the same thing.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I've been hopefully he gets a win someday. This is my joke that someday my dad is going to win the fight, like someday.
I think he is burdened by how do I word this? How do I word this? And as much as I don't want to bring it up, in Harry Potter, when Draco Malfoy always says, "My father will hear about this,"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's what Bamathis sounds like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why everyone wants him to lose all the time. I
Yeah.
think if he just were a little more humble and like a little more, like a little less of like a cunt about it, then people would like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is that he's just an armored Draco Malfoy who just really you're like, oh, I hope Dejani comes down and rubs fucking dirt in your eyes, you nerd. Like
And I think I
Uh,
think a lot of people don't get to um well, I don't know how many people get to like directly interact with him because in direct stuff he's very like but Mathis as a character directly is pretty nuanced. Like actually talking to him rather than just going out like shouts and stuff.
oh yeah, no,
Yeah. No, it's
he's
been great RPing around him and getting to, even though I've been on the uh, receiving end of not very pleasant
Yeah.
connections with him, it's still been awesome. I mean, every interaction has been great, even though it's been, tense.
Yes, I have to agree. Like I always loved interacting with him. Actually, when he randomly boomed my guild for no damn reason, I'm just like, fuck, I can't explain this. Lolly's gonna freak out on me because she did last time we got one. Um, I was just
And that's
trying
the only reason why
messages.
I did it.
I know that's why, but I was like messaging. I'm like, why? Please take it away. I'm doing shouts. I'm doing everything because I just wanted that interaction. I thought it'd be a lot of fun, and I got nada. So I'm like, damn it. Okay, fine. I think all the gods just don't want to interact with me. Okay.
Remember that
This,
survey that Icty put out about like when he first came here, sort of about what do you think about Aetolia and what it
yes,
needs and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the big things I put in that was coming from Achaea to Aetolia, the like I know it's part of the lore that the gods are more, like
Distant.
human-ish.
Yeah. That's
Very
fair.
Greek pantheon.
Yeah, but one of the things I put in the survey was I think there was still work to be done to make them like when I came, none of the gods felt like gods to me, really, and that was something I struggled with. And I think but Mathis has actually been one of the gods that has taken that most to heart and his interactions have gotten way more I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for.
I
Like
don't know. I think it might be depend on who you've been interacted with and how, because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people in this game have had interactions with the divine and the pantheon in general and gotten that, awestruck sensation, the
right,
feeling that where you're like, oh my God, okay, so yeah, I'm tiny. And
right,
I've
and
been
that
through that a few times. I remember life. He sent Tiani down to the bottom of the ocean. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm dead. Thank you for that.
Nice.
Um, and I mean, these things are, if people take them to heart when they are actually subjected to things that are way beyond what we can actually do, I think they would be a bit more awestruck for interacting with the divine than they are. But we know that there are players behind these, and they sometimes act more familiar. And yeah, I don't know.
well, I've noticed big changes with Bamathis, Demariel, Iosine, like Ivon, like all the gods basically. Or I
I
don't.
will say this. There's a reason we don't see gods doing that stuff anymore, and it's because people would talk shit and then they would bitch about getting hit.
Yeah.
Like, somebody would shout something, and then a god would do something, and then they would shout back how it was this, that, or whatever that they did that. So then, of course, the admin are just going to go, well, I'm just not going to do it because
Yeah,
it's more of a headache for me to do these things
yeah.
than it's worth.
At
And
the
it's a
same,
shame.
some people have been able to take that. I mean, I remember multiple times from the past where people were turned into maggots and hexed with every affliction known in the game at the same time. And these kind of punishments that you got for being an idiot and trying to do something stupid in front of or towards one of the divine, it should hurt. And if you're not able to take that, well, don't do that stupid shit.
Exactly.
Sorry,
Like, don't make yourself the focus of attention if you're
but
not
don't.
prepared to be the focus of attention. Just don't
Exactly.
do it.
There are consequences. If you try to kick a god, you're gonna be. I mean, seriously, they will, or I think that they should turn you into a maggot and just stomp you to death because it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's good that gods do things that are quote unquote godly. Like that I've seen a lot of that lately, and that's really that's good. That's good for the game, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, I
Yeah.
agree.
I will say this. I think there's also how do I feel like gods have gotten really a little too soft.
Yeah.
In some respects. Because for example, Ethne. Some may not know, but I recently changed to Damariel because he's got some intense stuff going on. And I couldn't get anything to do in Ethne. That's nothing against Ethne's player. Fantastic RPer, is capable of doing some cool stuff. But when I first joined Ethne's order and became her voice, I was literally on her anvil, forged and like hammered into, tempered. And it was a really intense thing, very intense, and it was something that was so cool. But I just don't see things like that.
Right.
And that's something that's so cool, like particularly with Ethne's lore, in that you have to temper yourself before you can temper the world. And it just is kind of part of why I left Ethne, is because when I joined, it was so much intensity. And now it's just kind of like self-improvement, which is fine. Every god wants you to improve on yourself, but like sometimes you just want your god to be kind of scary.
Yeah.
I think that is something that the game could benefit from a little bit, is gods who are willing to one, who are willing to do intense things like that, but two, a player base that understands if you shout something insulting at a god and then they kill you, you can then not blame that god for something you've decided has happened as a result.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you shouted, you got killed. Don't make this into some whole big weird thing.
And don't
like,
play the victim because you started.
yeah, because you started the problem.
Yeah.
And along that same vein that you mentioned, you wanted them to be scary. Just going back again to like when I started, there were a lot of like gods would suggest things, kind of like I'm not sure how to put they wouldn't give you like orders. They wouldn't just be like, do this thing now. I tell
Yeah,
you.
you should consider this.
Yeah,
Just
and now
tell me what to do.
now there's a lot. Like Bamathis will give us direct order. Like, this is my will. See it done. And it's like, holy shit! All right, I'm gonna go do this right now. And that is awesome. Like gods that
Killing
do that are
Tiani, for
fantastic.
example.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I love, and I've seen that in pretty much all of the Shadow Gods now.
Yeah. I mean,
The
sense.
life gods handle it differently, but they do the same stuff.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, T?
No. I thought I agreed with Wirren. It's nice to see those things. I mean, Tiani might have complained in game about being targeted and killed by Bamathis' order when she left, because she felt like, I have actually, repaid all the essence I have lost, and I'm not, leaving to go against the Legion. I'm just, I don't want to be here anymore. And
Yeah.
you don't want me to be there anyway, so what's the problem? But I thought it was, it made sense for Wirren to go after her, so I didn't mess around much with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, whenever you leave an order, especially if you don't do it, hey, heck, even if you do it the right way, you should really expect to just possibly die. I think that's just a given. Like, hey, I've decided you're not that cool anymore. I'm gonna leave. Peace out, homie. Bye. You should expect to have your head ripped off or something, heart taken out. Just creative. I remember. I can't remember which god it was, but it was definitely one where they pulled back their item that you had for the order, and just you kind of melted. It might have been Chakrazul. I can't remember, but I always appreciated it. I'm like, yeah, I expect to die if I shout something stupid, if I'm doing stupid things, or if I leave your order. Even if I'm in your order and I just say something you don't like, I expect to die. I think there's definitely exceptions on the spirit side. Like, I don't think Demariel's got the temperament to be like that, or Ethne could, but Demariel definitely doesn't really have that attitude. But like Ome and some of the other ones, yeah, you should expect to die at times. And that's fine. That's part of the danger and the fun of following a god, is that you may die. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's why Tiani was sent down to the bottom of the ocean, because she left Slime's order. She was like, "I'm going to live in Spine's Reach," and he was like, "Yeah, no,
Into the
I don't
ocean
like
for
people.
you.
Yeah, I don't like people living up in the north. They're evil people." And Tiani was like, "Well, I'm not evil, so there you go. You have one person up there who can speak for you." He did not want to have that, so he was like, "Yeah, down to the bottom of the ocean you go."
Did he sing a sea shanty as they sent you down there? You know, something creative? No, probably not, but that would have been funny.
Yeah, but I mean that kind of thing is awesome. It's character building.
Yeah. I remember one of the Chakrasils actually like had the item do like a curse where it actually like echoed different things and kind of drove my character crazy. I think it was back on Solaria, and I just loved it. It's fantastic.
Partsy says in the chat that she had a char put in the underground jail cell in Polyargus.
Nice.
Yeah, you can't get out of there, can you?
I still don't know which god it was that created a custom death thing where my trumpet like flew out of my hand and beat me to death.
I feel like that was Ome, actually.
Awesome.
That was Ome, almost certainly.
Okay,
I'm pretty certain about that, and I feel like, was it one went
That
up your
was Ome.
butt or something?
Can't even remember.
I
know
love
I
that.
went into her temple at one point and played my trumpet, like the area-wide trumpet message.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was almost certainly her killing.
Yeah. I remember that
That's
now because I was
hilarious.
right there. We're all just sitting there having little, congregation order chat, and here comes Rurin into the area and just blows his trumpet, and she's like, "Really? Really? In the Seer's Wood? You're gonna do this shit?" And just totally made him regret that trumpet. I still on my character make jokes about that he has so much hot air he could play it out of his ass as well. Just so you know, it's awesome times to make jokes on that.
It's true.
Just pucker it up to the butt. It'll be funny. That's a really wrong joke. I'm sorry.
About that swear jar.
Here we are.
No one's been using the swear. Oh, there we go. Someone used the swear jar. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a few times today.
It has, and that's expected. My mouth is a swear jar. There's no doubt about it.
Actually, I'm in there and I can't find the swear jar, so someone please enlighten me as to where to find it for another time.
I don't think it's a physical thing. It's just literally that little message to just remind us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to make something else. I haven't gotten around to making an actual swear jar. I will do that.
Oh, it would be nice to just have one so you can click in and see how many times.
Exactly. I just have to figure out how to tie the two together. Okay. Well, I think we've kind of beat that horse into the ground pretty successfully. Did we want to, since you brought it up, Rosani, and it was one of your items, the changes in the gods themselves because of everything that's been going on? I think it's only been Demariel primarily, but we can kind of do a roundabout to see if we've noticed anything else changing in the gods.
Exactly. Did we want to, since you brought it up, Rosani, and it was one of your items?
Oh, wow. There's echo somewhere.
That's Tiani.
So, because of everything going on, I think it's only been Demariel.
I think Tiani needs to turn her speakers down some as well.
Anything else? Sorry.
It's okay.
I accidentally hit a button. I don't know what happened.
It's all good. Okay. So, as we heard it repeated to ourselves again.
Yeah. Something sounds weird. Why is it, why are they still talking about this? Didn't they move on?
Yeah, so I have joined Demariel. Now the biggest change that has kind of happened with that is can you knock it off?
Who?
Sorry, my girlfriend.
Oh.
So the biggest thing that I have noticed changing is kind of and I don't want any previous Demario to take this the wrong way, but there was kind of this weird like hyper Christian vibe of Demario that I was not here for.
Is this why
Yeah.
everyone
Like-
That
calls him
is a
one-legged
lot of
Jesus?
why. It's like that's a lot of why
Yes, it
Rin's not in
absolutely
there.
100% is.
Yeah.
It's why I never got involved. Demario is very up my alley, but there was this really weird Christian vibe that was happening in the order that I was not here for. So,
I hated it so
a lot of
much.
changes have been made to Demario. He's not really paying attention to the feathers anymore, which was part of the problem because it's all like very born again Christian shit. And it has shifted into honestly what is probably Bamathis if he weren't such a dickhead. Like, it is switching to, yes, we're going to defend Sapience, but we're defending Sapience from Varian. We're defending Sapience from, Bamathis. We're defending it from Shadow in general. But it has a lot of those same, like, it has this idea of you might have to do things you don't want to do, but you will be bringing forth the dawn. And it's very cool. It's good for anybody who is, really looking for that kind of RP, but doesn't want to have to side hop to get it. Whoever is playing Demario right now is writing really spectacularly, and seems really, really invested in being part of reviving what is kind of right now a small order. And if you get the opportunity to RP with them, I highly, highly recommend it.
I just want to concur. I got to RP with Demario a little bit, and it was very good. Like one of the best interactions
Whoever's
I've
got
had.
Demario is killing it. Is absolutely crushing it.
You know what, Wyatt? Wyatt, you can suck an egg. I will type as loudly as I want to. I am not pushed to talking. I'm too lazy. Sorry. Carry on.
Yeah.
I ruined the moment with that. I am sorry.
That's fine. I had to yell exacerbatedly at my girlfriend earlier. We've all had to interrupt the stream. Anyways.
But since you guys said it, I will agree. Dama, the current person that's playing Dama, is definitely trying to make a big shift away from the Christian themes, which is fantastic. And it has been really great to roleplay with. I've only gotten to do mostly tells so far. But even those have been interesting because I went for a while. Rin used to be part of the order, has flip-flopped 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 times from leaving that order primarily because of the Christian themes, not going to lie. And it is very tempting seeing a good role player, not to knock the previous ones, but to see a good role player trying to take it away from those things. It does make it very tempting to go back. But
you could join Demario.
I can't. There's a lot of stuff invested in where my character is right now that I just can't.
You could join Dad Mario.
I would love to join Dad Mario, but I have so much. I can't. I have reasons, serious reasons, being coded reasons that I really can't. So it's all good.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I think if I wasn't Bamathis, I would probably follow Demario.
I could see that. Trumpet Lord could definitely fit in there.
Yeah, you just have to quit being a nasty dead.
But Bamathis is the hill I will die on, so it will never happen.
I can't wait for Bamathis to be beheaded by my god.
Oh God, Scanlan, damn it, dads, damn it, dome.
It's just happened.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here and I'm like, just bring Severn back, please.
Yeah.
He can't come back because I shouted at him and hurt his feelings.
Well, you know what? When there was the whole variance revelation to begin with, you saw Severin actually pop up and kind of go to his area and be pondering, essentially pacing and everything.
Pacing in his tower.
Exactly,
and it was like, oh my god, yes, please come back.
Yeah, it's like
Fix this shit.
he was pacing, and then Demario came up right after that and shouted that we won't let this happen. So I don't know if that was supposed to mean the twins are
Maybe
not
he'll
still.
kill Bamathus.
That's what I'm hoping.
Maybe
I'm
Severn
hoping he
will
just
kill
like,
Bamathus.
you know, shanks him, straight up prison shanks him, just
Hey,
comes up
hey,
behind
hey.
and said, "This is from the king," and you know, gets him in the back or
Mathis
something.
is never going to die, okay? My heart
Yes.
will die with him.
I can help Severn with that. No problem.
My heart would die.
Your heart will go on. We'll sing that song for you as it happens. We'll just go, my heart
Yeah.
will go on. And this is not the alcohol
I'll,
spill, I
I'll pick
promise.
up Bard and I'll sing it for you.
Bamathus dies and is replaced by Bamathus, but just like a little bit more fucked up.
That could work.
He's been stabbed a bunch.
He's been stabbed. He's going crazy because everyone's betraying him. You know, I could get behind that. I could get behind a crazy.
So like a
crazy
dog
shit.
that you've left alone all day. Nobody loves him. Nobody cares him.
Maybe he's a little
Everybody
rabbit.
wants
He
to
got
hurt.
like bit by a squirrel that was a rabbit or something. Throw a little bit of rabbit in there. That could be interesting.
Nipsey, I don't know what to tell you. Rock Dad shouldn't have started a fight like a crazy ex-husband with friggin' Dar. He should have just left well enough alone.
He knew when they got divorced that he got the short end of the stick and he should have just GTFO'd. But he decided to go fuck with things and he made a bad choice. Now he's got to live with the consequences. It happens.
That was a fun
He's at-
event. Even though
Yes,
he
it
was
was.
getting yeeted across the continent.
I think he's just in rehab.
He
Dar's
is.
still supporting him. I know he is.
I don't want to go to
the
rehab.
journey through the ley line thing was fun.
Yeah, now we know that what he heard was Nuri sitting there screaming at him like, "I'm gonna get you, bitch! I'm gonna get you." Yeah.
Can I just say that I absolutely called that they are still very much a bitter divorced couple.
Oh yeah, I have figured that since forever. It just has to be a thing. They're very much, you know, giving each other those longing looks and just kind of staring at each other. Yeah, it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
The play we need
And
more
even
of the
this, he
play.
didn't kill him. He just flung him off to fucking time out.
Yeah, and maybe hurt him a little bit, but he didn't do it to mortally wound him. He knew where his weak spots would be, and he's like, "I'm not going to kill you." So I feel like, yeah, they totally still love each other.
Yeah, he knows where all his weak spots are. All right.
Oh, God.
That's
You invited me here.
That's
This
another
actually
kind of
ties
stream.
in with this mortal wounds thing. I've had this
Welcome to the
question-
gay accords.
Oh my God.
There we go. I knew it would be mentioned.
It was about time. It was about time. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the gay accords, everybody. That was very southern sounding. I'm sorry.
That was very southern stuff.
Yeah, my accents. The more I drink, the more my accent's probably going to come out. So that's fine. That's fine.
Hurricane time.
I should go get round 2. I'm almost empty.
Maybe Rasani can answer this one because this ties into mortal wounds, and I've never had an
Sure,
answer to
hit
this
me with
question. Why do gods have mortals forge them weapons?
Okay.
This is a
So
good question.
here is the answer to that question. Out of character, I imagine that Solani are so goddamn busy that they're like, yeah, I'll just this mortal likes to forge a bunch of stuff. We'll have them forge for me, and then I don't have to do it. 2, it started initially because we were going to war, and all the gods were working together because it was an Albedi, and I was asked by Ethne to forge for her. And then Ome asked me. Slife asked Ethne's order, but that wound up just being me at the time. It was kind of a dead order at the time. So there were a lot of instances in which it either just came up. I mean, shit, I've forged for Iacine. I've made her a huge warhammer. So I think, honestly, out of character, Solani are busy. And if they can have somebody help them out, they're gonna. And especially if it's something they can give somebody like me. My whole month is made when a god asks me to forge them something.
Yeah.
Because it's fun for me. I can get away with doing a lot more things because I can go in the notes, this is for a god character. and then I can play around and do a lot more cool shit with it.
Yeah.
In character, I think that just because it's happened so many times, it's just kind of a cool little character thing. It's now just like a thing where Rasani's been asked a lot of times, and now the gods are like, all right, I'll just go to that weird fucking troll that keeps forging me shit for free. And it's pretty cool. I like doing it, and if it helps the Solani not have to do it themselves and lets them focus on other stuff, then it's fine by me.
I do think it's cool. The reason I asked the question though is because like we've I've watched so many Bamathis fights now where he gets a weapon forged and then it like breaks when he hits somebody with it.
I will
And I'm
say
just like, God damn it, Dad! Like,
I've never forged a weapon for Bamathis. And the part of Rasani's RP, and something that I'm sure people have heard me. First of all, Scanlan, yes, they did give me an honors. I now have a custom title, Godsmith, for
That's
forging the show Tell for Demario.
that's very cool.
And I haven't forged for Bamathis, and
Well, there you have the
he
reason.
keeps doing.
Next
Yeah,
time,
that's why it keeps breaking.
Well, the funny thing is that Ethne
Advertising.
made him something and that shit broke. So he's just bad with his weapons. He doesn't know how to take care of shit.
Rasani always is like, if
strong,
he just
okay.
learned to maintain his. It's not that he's strong. It's not that he's strong. Ethne is strong.
Yeah.
Fucking Slife is strong. It's not that he's strong. It's that he's not maintaining his weaponry.
Exactly.
If
he doesn't
just
care.
maintained his weaponry, then this wouldn't happen.
He is totally Draco Malfoy. He doesn't care about anything, and he won't take the time to take care of it. He gives no fucks. He'll just replace it right
Weirin,
afterwards.
teach your god how to use a whetstone.
To preserve my
Please.
feelings, I'm just gonna cling to the fact that he's like extra strong. And that's why
He's
I
like Super Saiyan.
He's getting the blonde hair going.
Oh, Weirin, if you ever, I will name a drink after you if you have Weirin try to teach Bamathis how to use a whetstone.
Oh, what would you even call that? Would you name it after the whetstone situation?
It'd have to be something about the trumpet.
Oh, it'd have
about
to be the trumpet. The
Yeah.
toots, something toots. I don't know. I can't really say that. I call my son Toots McGee, so I can't make those jokes on here that well.
Yeah, no, it'd have to be something about the trumpet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet.
Have to think about that. Okay. Well, I think that is good on the God stuff. Wyatt is nagging me because he wants me to make sure to ask some other questions here, and I will completely be nice to Wyatt and go ahead and do that. So one of the ones he had asked, actually it's still God related on this one. He asked me specifically on this one. Could we see a city choose an Albeti god as a patron or matron? What would that look like? And how would it change the city? Ooh. I bet you Anorian would go to Johnny.
I was gonna say Anorian could probably choose Dejani without much fuss, I would think, right?
Yeah.
We would have to know more about Dejani and sort of her, because like if you read Mun texts again, you can glean a little bit. She is the first mother in Mun text, and she does some kind of fucked up shit in Mun holy text. And it's one of those things where, on the one hand, yes, I think there is some leeway for gods that are so far removed from mortals that it doesn't even register. It's like you killing a bug. Like, it doesn't register to you that you've taken a life. However, that doesn't really suit Anorian's whole vibe, so we'd really have to learn more about her. But if there were a god that Anorian would consider like an Albeti god, it would most likely be Dejani, if only because every Dwamvi in that city comes from. So, that's kind of what it is. But I could see Spine's Reach doing it too, actually.
I think that Spine's Reach would be more Aetros.
Yeah, the time one,
Yes, certainly.
absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The machinists and thinking forward progress and you know experimenting on things. I think that would
Absolutely.
be a good fit for Spine's Reach.
I don't think there's any for Bloodlock. The ones that would fit Bloodlock tentatively are like too crazy and want to destroy everything.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, but like Bloodlock wants to build an empire. They don't want
They will.
they don't want to be
Sure.
wiped out by a fire god or whatever.
No, I think that the bull might be fitting. Garagond?
Uh,
And
not
no.
not really.
Yeah, no. God of Earth, but in the sense of this is the Dejani half of it. So this
Yeah,
actually
true.
Garrett.
It's fertility, so it's not that.
Yeah, this would probably end up being more Durrani, possibly. If not that, Hiva. But yeah, because mostly also because Hiva has had some actual like cult stuff in Duran in the past. So that would make sense for us. I feel like Bloodlock would probably end up being something, maybe the Walker.
I was gonna actually say I could picture Spine's Reach going with the Walker, if only
Oh, that
because
too.
all we know of him is literally hold on to this coin and I will feed you information.
Yeah.
That's literally all the only interaction we've ever had with the Walker has been through these coins in which you get these demented whispers of things. And if that doesn't say evil scientist, nothing does.
That is true. That is very true.
I don't know who Periton Punch is in the chat room, but I don't think that Spine's Reach would remove themselves. And in this case, it was hypothetical anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking about all of the picking one of the Albady gods. If you do that, which one would it be?
Yeah, it's just a hypothetical. It's not like we ever
No,
expect like yeah.
we wouldn't do that. The only one that we would vehemently go against would be Olsana. That one is just a given. Um,
I
because
think
that's
everybody has
Severn is
struggles for that
keeping
one.
trapped. So, but yeah, I think possibly the Walker, but Nitros feels feels more spot on in a way.
Yeah.
Information, we want it, and he probably has it because he can manipulate time. Seriously, give us.
Actually, I could see Duran probably going for Illumos if we can prove that he's not completely crazy. But even if he was crazy, we might. We might.
That would make sense because Duran is crazy in a sense.
I was gonna
Exactly.
say you have
Yeah.
Issa, so
We're kind of batshit. I love it though. We're completely batshit. In the good way. Okay. Did we have everyone answer for each city? I think we did.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. Well, let's see. Let's go through some more of the questions. Ooh, this one is just for shits and giggles. It is not anything serious. The Pantheon is playing Farkle, and everyone has a special ability. What is your god's special ability? If you're following a god, obviously. You can choose a random one if you want to, too, if you don't. Let's see.
That one's kind of tricky because, Severn sees the entire world as a gaming board. He's playing games all the time. So it's just normal life for him to manipulate how things happen on the board. So I'd say Jedi powers, making sure that the dice fall his way.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's see.
Easy for me.
Let's see.
Mathis, flip table.
Someone else in
Flip
chat
table ability.
said Bamath is losing.
Flip table, definitely.
That's the Mathis ability. Flip the table and then hit somebody with it.
I feel like Ome's would be something about distracting, just because she could just flutter into little moths and distract them and make it seem like she totally was not cheating and making the roll go her way. I could see that. What about Demariel then? Since that's Rasani's new favorite one. Or is Rasani muted
Did we
because
kill
of
Rasani?
I think
Sorry, no,
girlfriend?
I'm here. Yeah, no. What am I being asked about tomorrow?
If they're playing a game of Farkle, what would be their special ability?
Oh God. Well, it can't be cheating because that kind of goes against the whole shtick, you know.
Promoting honesty and trust in all of his fellow players.
Yeah, I think his special move is just playing the game as intended, and paying whatever gold he has bet and shaking the hand of whoever beat him. No. That's
Ooh,
aha.
I've got it. If you don't, I've got
You
it.
got one. You got one.
I got one. He can root out liars. So he can
Ooh,
call
that's a
you.
good one.
He can call you if you're.
He
if
knows
you're
when you're
cheating.
lying to him.
Exactly.
He knows
Yes.
to read the poker faces and everything.
Yeah. There you
He
go.
knows when you're lying to him. That makes sense.
He's total
I was gonna
Santa
say
Claus
he just has like a tremendous amount of sparrows come in and knock everything over. Just like so many birds come in and ruin the entire thing.
It's like the game's not going my way. Here's a bunch of sparrows. You can't tell
Yeah,
what the
here's
game
some
was going on
birds.
anymore. Here's some birds. There's shit everywhere. Who cares? It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Just touch the dice. Who cares about the shit on it? It's fine.
It's fine.
That's my favorite meme at work is that little dog in the fire. It's fine. Everything's fine. That's work. Yes. Okay. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about with gods? Anything from the audience about gods? Because I think we have definitely run the course of an hour-long discussion about the gods.
You think we're done?
Are we? Are we done? Are we not done with the gods? Oh God. What else is there?
I think we're done.
I think
Yeah,
we
no,
are.
I think that's a good conversation about the gods. I'm sure they'll come up another day, another time.
I
you know.
completely agree. I think we'll have more discussions. It'll be fine, but I think that's a good transition into something random, and then we can get into something more serious. So real quick, random transition question. What word evokes a visceral reaction? You are not allowed to choose the word moist. Which just screws me because I hate that word.
A visceral reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Ew, I know. Squelch.
Oh, yes. I hate that word.
Every time I see that affliction in game, I hate everything.
You don't really have any
Don't really
words in specific. No.
It's like
English is
moist.
strange in
like-
general.
It
so
is. Let's see, moist and squelch. Those are good ones. What is there? Another one? I just thought of it last night too, and I can't remember it now. It was something
Yeah, I know.
liquidy. Got anything, Rosani, besides cunt?
Not really.
Hmm.
Words don't really get in. It's there aren't any specific words, but I will say that there are a combination of words
Ooh.
that varies day to day that can make me cringe like nothing else. Sometimes people just type anything into the internet for me to see, and when I see that specific combinations of words, I cringe.
Do you have an example?
Do I have an example?
Mm-hmm. And if its name is Nipsey killed somebody or Nipsey spoke, I mean that's an obvious one.
The internet
No,
is
no.
Rasani's trigger.
Nipsey shouts and you get triggered.
Let's see. You know, not recently. There were some of Nipsey's first shouts. I was just like, somebody take that fucking gnome's head right off. Now I understand he's a tree now. They're a tree now, but
The gnome tree.
the gnome tree, yeah, the little bush.
What the hell? Is
But the shouts are, things have gotten much more tolerable in terms of in terms of sometimes people find really good vocabulary to say really disgusting shit.
They do. I will give props to people. There are some things that I'm just like, I have to go Google every single word. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
that's
and
an
then when you do,
impressive
you're like,
insult.
that was really crude. Yeah.
It was. I had to just go.
Yeah, I don't know that I have just one word.
I had to go Google chuggy. I have never heard of that word before.
I think it's some Gen Z bullshit.
Yeah, basically basic, uncool, and untrendy. I am absolutely chuggy then. I am. And I don't like that
I
word.
hate that. I hate that word.
Hey, we found another one. What do you know?
Here we go. I just saw one because of my screen. Sumptuous. I actually hate the word sumptuous. I do not like that word. I don't know why. Maybe it's because there's so
Blame
many.
Aisling.
Yeah, it's like
You.
it's like so many. And I'm gonna say this so
Blaming you
badly.
Yanku's blaming you for using the word chuggy.
I was gonna say though, sumptuous. So many people make mud sex characters that have sumptuous in their description to describe their bodies. That I'm just like, I can't with
I
that
love
word.
meeting those people. It's so fun. It's
like
so funny.
My sumptuous bosom. It's like why is your bosom sumptuous? Like, for real, can't you find a better adjective? There's so many adjectives out there to say that your body is banging. Okay, you could just even say that, and that would sound better.
Sumptuous into Warren's description somewhere.
Okay,
you should somewhere.
You
Your
should.
tusks. No, you're an ogre. You don't got tusks.
Yeah, I don't have tusks. No.
You really fucked the pooch on that one. You could have had tusks.
I know. I messed up. I wanted to be Shrek. Okay.
Ew.
You know what? Fair enough. It's all ogre.
I don't like turgid either. Swollen and distended or congested. Ooh.
I learned a new word yesterday, or not yesterday, but like a few days ago.
From a mud sex alt description.
No, from Canivara. On order, she was like, Lord, can you come bless us with the pulchritude of your presence? I was like, the fucking what? Like, bless us with what?
That is a new one for me too.
Just say you want to see him. It's fine.
Pulchritude. I was like, holy shit. Okay.
That's some fancy shit right there. Some real fancy shit. Okay.
What's our last topic?
Okay. Well, this is because we were talking about it before we got on, and I do want to tread a little bit carefully, but I do feel like we could go ahead and talk about current events in the game. Dun dun dun.
Sure.
Okay. So the war. This is probably just going to be mostly between Rurin and Rasani more than Tiani and I. But I just want to kind of let you guys, talk about how you feel like things are going, how things kind of got instigated, how they possibly escalated, and just, see how you all are taking your take on it.
Now, I will start by addressing one thing that I've seen on the forums, and that is I've seen multiple people being like, Spirit just somehow knew we were up to something, and we didn't complain about that. We didn't just somehow know. In fact, we thought that you guys were following an old version of The Cure. And we even spoke with Xenia about that, how we were like, you guys are following an old book, that's not how you get the cure anymore. Through some role play and some people just straight up saying words, we figured out that slaves were being taken. So I want to make it clear to people, because I know that there were the posts were made like, this was not people suddenly understanding that something was wrong. That, or being told by admin or something like that. This was people involved in role-playing. Xenia role-played arriving to Mogedu with manacles and chains around her waist. What else is she gonna do with those in Mogedu?
A belly dance?
And there were public posts and shouts and that wasn't that wasn't really subtle in any way.
Yes, the post came after Xenia was questioned, but I will say this is not, this is not admin told us that you guys were taking slaves. People involved in taking slaves role played with the people who showed up, and it, we're not, nobody who plays, well, okay, I won't say that. Most people who play this game are smart enough to gather context clues from roleplay. So if I see Xenia showing up, demanding to know how to pay off her fine, demanding to, be let into Mogedu, coming up with shackles and stuff like that, it that's how it went. People role played and people found out.
I just say that's the most amazing image showing up. I'd like to pay my fine. Pay no attention to the slave implements.
Yeah,
I'm carrying.
pay no attention to the fact that I'm ready to enslave everyone.
Spider here with chains to bring you into slavery, but I'd like to pay my fine first.
So I just want to clear the air on that, because a lot of the, hurt feelings or whatever is happening on the forums is people speculating about, oh, an alt told you. No. People role played, and through that role play we found out something else was going on. But that's what happened. And that's the best way for these kinds of things to kick off. Don't, if we saw Xenia dying in Mogedu, so we were like, what the hell's going on? Because we have a good relationship with Mogedu. So, this is how you want these things to develop, is naturally. This is that natural PK that everybody keeps bitching about wanting. So, I guess I was confused as to why this would be a hurt feelings kind of topic. When Weirin brought it up, I didn't know why we would have any problems discussing it. Of course, when you're losing a bunch of PK, you get a little bit salty, but that's not anything about the nature of the event. That's just
that I saw.
PKing.
The post that I saw, the feelings were about the fact that Spirit feels like they don't have an objective.
Yeah, that has been one thing.
But I don't feel like we really the slave thing isn't really an objective for Bloodlock. It's like we're trying to cultivate a culture again where Bloodlock has things to focus on.
Yeah, it's like there's not really a Bloodlock objective either, and there's not one specifically for Spirit. It's just stop them, or you're going to do this, and that's the objective: is do shit, don't do shit, and that's really about it.
Yeah, and Bloodlock doesn't have an end goal here. That I was gonna post on the forums, but I was like, it's too easy. It's not gonna matter.
Yeah.
I assume, honestly, looking at this, that we weren't really supposed to know that this was happening.
No, it was just
do I think it was smart to point you guys to Enorian protectorates? Of course not. That we're going to find that out.
Yeah.
We have a city watch program explicitly for these things.
Yep.
It was set up so that it could become a war. I think it was supposed to be later. Yeah. I think that this was I think it would have been wiser if they wanted to build up to a war, to say, go to these places first, because these ones Enorian will notice too quickly.
Yeah.
So go to these other places instead, and then it builds up into Enorian's protectorate.
Yeah.
It would have made things build up slower, and would have had admin have a little bit more time to have both of us have right and proper, objectives that we needed to get done.
Yeah.
Right, and I also think there's a bit of salt, because last night, I'll fully admit, last night Bloodlock had a group of 24 people PKing.
I'm aware, you all killed me all the time.
Yes, but that
this I am willing to laugh about, because I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I knew everybody in Spirit was done fighting, so running there to try to 1v1 people was just going to end with 24 people on top of it. But I still tried.
It's like, I'm going to keep going anyway.
I esteemed you, because that's something I would have done. I approve. But yeah, there's been some salt over the fact that last night, Bloodlock did have 24 people. That's very unusual. That's
very rare for you guys.
Yes. Yeah. And there's been some talk about some nefarious circumstances led to this happening. And what actually happened is the Dominion got called out by the rest of the city for not showing up to fights and not like doing things for the Empire. And they got called to a battlefield against the Terradrome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we saw the Terradrome get spanked.
yes, the nobody nobody
Nobody
put a
showed
limit
up.
on how many people could enter that
On how
battlefield.
many people can show up?
And so the Dominion showed up with like 12 vampires out of nowhere. Yes. And so when that battlefield got over, we were like, hey, like you guys usually aren't here, but you're here now. So like let's go, let's go do war things. And we suddenly had 24 people that were like, hell yeah, let's go.
Oh, absolutely. And I understand the frustration.
Yeah.
I really do. Because it's not just there's so many more people. Because as we've seen, both sides will have battles where they show up against 12 people and they only have 5, but they still manage to do it. It's not about the number of people. What it really became was the lag. So
Oh my
you would
God, it
have
was
10
terrible.
people from Spirit, and then 24 of you run in. And there's nothing we can do. We lag out because so many fucking people suddenly show up and are all attacking at once, and there's nothing we can do.
I
Yeah.
couldn't
I
do
think the
things
lag was
either.
really the killer.
I was the one marching troops, and I literally had to like turn off web and then I was still lagging. Like I would march the troops, and I would have to wait 5 or 10 seconds. It was
Oh, yeah.
terrible.
The lag was atrocious. And that's sort of the thing. Like, I totally respect people's decision to go, we cannot fight 24 fucking people.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go back. However, I said this in our web and in our clan and stuff. I don't think having this is a nefarious plot by the admin attitude helps anybody.
No.
I don't
No.
think it helps anybody. And moreover, even if, because I'll tell you the story that we heard over in Spirit. We heard that even Abarash said, you guys don't get involved or else. This is what we've heard, that an admin at some point told people you have to get involved or there will be consequences for it. Which is where people are getting this idea that there's some nefarious plot to make sure that all of Bloodlock shows up, that sort of thing.
Have you seen the Abrash post?
I think it was I think I saw it and it was
Did my
literally
headset
like
die? It sure did.
you're going to, suffer it's literally that. It's you'll suffer consequences, but it's pointed at everyone.
It's
Like all the guilds, if there's not a guild helping.
it's at okay, so you have to have it in context, which there's been like Dominion drama for the last like 2 weeks.
Oh, we
And-
know. People
Yeah.
reached out to try and cure Calidora forcefully.
Yeah, and so his post essentially is we're trying to get back to a point where Bloodlock actually works together instead of, like
Being
against
at each other's
other.
throats. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole slave thing, giving Bloodlock a general purpose. That's the trying to get the Dominion back on board. And that's where Abrash came from. But I don't think like even if he is saying there's going to be consequences, they're going to be like in character consequences. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that's something nefarious. Like
No, that's just the
we're-
admin trying to drive an actual unity and say, hey guys, actually
Work
get your
with
shit
me.
together and work together and do this.
This is Father Crime is Almal, right? Almal, I know you can't force a cure.
Yeah.
I know it was RP. Like, this isn't me calling anybody out for trying to actually force somebody to cure. This is me saying this is RP that has led up to the point that we've gotten to.
Yeah.
I'm aware that you guys are RPing. I think it's very cool RP. So, like, this is not a call-out post or anything like that. Like, this isn't me vague booking. Like, I know it's RP and I think it's cool. My headset died for a good portion of that. I assume that Abrash saying something was trying to get Bloodlock to all work together.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's bad. I do think that it wound up being misconstrued as suddenly we have 24 people here because admin told them they all had to go fight or else. And I think that there was some disconnect. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
One person hears one thing, and then something different, a little tiny bit changes about it every single time a new person hears it. Yeah, like that's just sort of what it is.
Yeah.
But in general, I don't think Abrash saying something is any worse than like, a spirit god or whatever being like, you guys have to stop them, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, of
luckily
course
they
not.
haven't really
I mean,
said
that's
anything, but I don't think they've been online the last
Yeah, we
few
haven't
days.
really had any of them online the past couple days, which I will say is kind of demoralizing to see you guys getting blessing after blessing after blessing, and we're sitting here like, hey guys, anybody? Anybody at all?
Just do some
Blessing now,
peelers.
so
Peeler.
not everyone gets blessed, guys. I don't have a blessing right now. I had to beseech. So
Yeah, that's true. Like it wasn't just Abarash, Chak and Iosine were both doing their own things. Like in the Dominion, Chak basically said, you guys kind of need to get rid of people that are not wanting to do things in the city, and if you want to bitch, you're going to get kicked out of the order, basically. Which, it is necessary at some point when, like, that's the thing. I actually had a character in Bloodlock recently. I keep trying because I love the lore. Tiani knows classically have had vampire after vampire because I like characters there, and I just couldn't do it because it's so badly entrenched in not
you
a
could
good
say
way.
snugly.
I'm not even saying snugly necessarily, and that is a good term for
necessarily
it.
that.
It's not even
Yeah.
snuggly anymore. Like, it's not like certain players that were snuggly, that were doing that sort of thing and pushing that sort of thing before. Now we've got Bloodlock, which is in a decent place, but you have Dominion that it's not even snuggly. They just don't give a shit about anything but their own little circle, and there's not been a good way to push them to actually give a fuck. They just don't want to. They don't have that effort. Like back when even Sarita was in there, at least she was trying to push them and had like their own little role play when it came to Al Jazeera and stuff. But they haven't done anything like that in a while besides free the slaves. And that really, a lot of it just gradually started stripping away their identity and started stripping away at them having much of any reason to get out there and do things. So this unfortunately just was needed for really specifically that organization and anyone that left that organization because of the fact it was like that. Because there's a lot of vampires that are just in Bloodlock who aren't necessarily part of the Dominion because the Dominion was a boring shit show, but then they still didn't do anything with Bloodlock because they had no reason to really give a fuck.
I'll tell you how I kind of wish that they had let this resolve, and in a way that I think would have been very uniquely Bloodlock, would have been just an all-out in the street civil war.
No, I agree, and this is.
I think that would have been really fucking cool. One, I think it would have appealed to the player base of Bloodlock, of just having people who don't like the way the Dominion is doing things, even other vampires. And then people who do like the way the Dominion is doing things. And then whoever wins that battlefield, they get to pick a new leader of the city or something like that. That feels so uniquely Bloodlock that I think that would have been a really cool way to let them sort of duke it out, as it were.
I think the issue there is that most of the people who prefer the Dominion the way that it is would not be able to stand up to those who don't, because they are not combatant in that sense.
Yeah, I will agree there. Like the big issue, and it's also a lot to do with guild ranks and a bunch of other things, that are involved there, and people just coming in numbers and just showing back up. As you've seen, there is 12 vampires on when that guild has been really, really damn dead. When I was playing, it was like most days anywhere between 2 of us to maybe 6. So to have those numbers, especially that time of night, just double is a big increase. And
I was just gonna say that's the only reason they won is because the Terradrum had a lot of experienced PKers and it was like 12 against 4.
Exactly.
Well, that's kind of, I think, the point though, is like we have proven just yesterday that numbers is going to outbeat experience in a big fight like this.
Yep.
The Dominion dominated, even though, from what I'm hearing, is most of these people are not PK based.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's
or it's one of those things where it's like, if they've got enough numbers, it doesn't necessarily matter that they're not experienced PKers. They just have enough of them who like things the way they are.
exactly. That's the point. It's like they have just enough people that even if they're not playing, and this is just a famous thing why election weight and all these other things were brought into the game, so that people couldn't just pop back in and vote for their favorite person and that person continue to stay in power because they don't have like the vote weight now. It's kind of the same idea where these people just showed up for the PK event in numbers to help support the guild. So even if you had one that was just internally Dominion or maybe was all just vampires, you would have still probably had a substantially larger number of people that supported the current regimen still going in there and beating the lower numbers just for that fact. So it did need, unfortunately, a little bit more of an admin push to help say, okay, this is a serious issue. You guys need to get your butts in order. It's not just you figuring it out internally. You need to suffer the consequences of your original creator and the god that is basically your creator, and just get your act in order, because this is not working for the benefit of you as much as it's also not helping the city. So it just was a bigger issue, unfortunately, than just
it's a huge issue,
Yeah.
because right now it still doesn't look like much is changing. The Dominion won.
Well, the Dominion won, but they also do have an election going on now that I don't think would have happened before. I don't know what the results of those are going to be, but
yeah, I guess it'll depend on what we see.
Exactly, that's still pending.
I will.
Do you have any input?
I will say this is kind of a two-part thing, but for the Dominion, I do want to say that after the battlefield, we had a lot of Dominion people join us. Obviously. And
yeah, no shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of obvious, but but a lot of them, as the fighting was winding down and they were like, people are going to bed and all that, like everyone that I really hadn't seen PK with us or anything was kind of like, hey, that was fun, like we actually achieved something as a city. That was pretty cool, and like they said things like that as they left.
Yeah.
And the attitude on CT was to, try to encourage, like, hey, thank you all for showing up. Maybe we can do this more often now. Like, if we all show up and do the thing, we win. Like,
yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
That's why we sort of want you to come.
Yeah, and it's like, that's why we want you to come. Like, we appreciate you when you do come. Like, thank you. And we did really good work. Good work, guys.
Yeah.
And that was kind of crazy to see. And hopefully that will change something, and because those people in the Dominion did do good work last night. I mean, they showed up, they were there, they fought, we won.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so it's like, if you guys do that, you get to reap the benefits too. It's not like just for us.
Yeah.
So maybe that will change something. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think it will. I mean, I feel like that's a big thing and this is, going between the different ways that our sides kind of handle things. But I think that is a big part of why Spirit tends to have a lot of people that repeatedly come back, even though they get frustrated or they get tired of dying, et cetera, all of those things, is that after it's said and done, there is rarely a time where we're not like, hey, thanks guys for coming, especially if we get the bigger numbers with a bunch of people that don't normally come, if we're really, calling for that action for people to come get involved. We show that appreciation to them. That's been ever since that last war with Mitrine and everything. That has been a big focus, is we realized, shit, we lost a lot of people and a lot of their interest because we were assholes. And this is speaking as one of the people that was treated as by those assholes. We lost a lot of people that just didn't want to be involved with us anymore because we were just complete jerks. So that mindset changed, and it's been evolving. And it's nice.
I've only gotten heavily involved in PK recently because people could be so angry and bitter and mean to each other. And I think the game as a whole is realizing that we can't really do that.
Yeah.
Because, it's sounding like it has happened on both sides. And the
Yeah.
fact that it's starting to change is really what's pulling people back into it.
Yeah.
Because you're playing this game for your own free time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play a game and then have some nerd miles and miles away cuss you out because your text prompt didn't run as fast as somebody else's.
Yeah.
Like, nobody has time for that.
Code that everyone thinks is so easy because you can't code.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, "Oh, why weren't you running afflictions when you should be running limbs? Why were you doing this? Why were you doing that?" And just any of that really simple petty stuff, you still get a little bit of it, but I do think the majority of people are starting to realize if we want to keep people around, we have to be nicer, we have to be friendlier, and we have to be more supportive of each other because yes, it's a fucking game.
It's now usually joined with, "Hey, I noticed you were running ass when we were trying to do limbs. Do you need help setting up your limb route? Or can I help you get something figured out?" People are more helpful.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest here and take this off topic for a second. I thought you said ass instead of afs when you just spoke, so that is why I laughed and I apologize. I'm so sorry about that.
That's fine. That's all good.
You need to get that out of the gutter.
Well, it's always in the gutter. I'm eternally in the gutter. It never changes. I'm sorry.
I tried to change you though.
It's been so long. You know it's not going to happen. It's not. Okay.
Yeah, this is one of those things that we have seen it on both sides of the game. I know that people have, they've been speaking about, oh yeah, I left that side because they were so toxic, and then they've said, you've heard from the other side that no, they're not nice on that side, and it's like, yeah, there are some people who can't get into their heads that they need to be supportive and nice, but they're all over the game. It's not just one side.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So that's one of the things that irk me, when we were speaking about words that we don't like. But this issue is one of those things that really grinds my gears.
It does me too, because I've been on both sides repeatedly. I'm the retired queen. I like to wear that crown. And it's toxicity on both sides, and it comes and goes, and it's not just one side or the other. I will say Spirit tends to have less of it, but it still comes back. So we just have to, as a group, work together and try to temper it as much as we can. I mean, you can't prevent it because it's the internet. Everyone's an asshole at some point on the internet. There's not anyone that's perfect. But if we as a community can just try to stick together and stop doing that shit where we talk badly about each side, if we could just be honest, say, hey, it happens to both of us. Hey, sometimes we have more numbers on this side. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes people are dogpiling on this side. Sometimes it's on the other side. We all do the same shit. If we could all just be honest with each other, admit it, and move on and encourage each other as a community, we would just be in a better spot and just possibly negate some of it.
Yeah. We all love the game, so I mean, we all want what's best for the game. So if we can please just, see to that, it would probably help in general.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me sit down and sing Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
You know what? I finally thought of words that make me cringe in an order together.
Oh God.
Is it Kumbaya?
No, well, I mean that could too, yeah. But this is part of a rant I was having earlier. Man, I do sure hate seeing unknown location.
Let's see.
The fucking hood and the crystal are the worst in the game, and they should be removed.
Nope.
I don't want people to be able to hide either. I have set it up so that it shows hiding, on the side. And it's so frustrating.
I'm putting mine up just to be
the more
spiteful.
people you can find out where they are, the easier it is to, communicate and interact with people. So instead of hiding away, go to your haven or go hide somewhere where people can't reach you if that's the case.
I'm gonna
out of
I don't mind if people are just RPing and they don't care to have me know where they are. But I think if you're gonna shout some shit, then I should be able to see where you are.
Yeah,
I
well,
should be
Yeah.
able to find you.
You
right
know
now
what?
we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
24.
8, 9, 10. Oh, 24 people hiding away. There are skills where you can, throw people off, like, for example, Mark with a shapeshifter. So you can, pretend to be somewhere else. Use that and don't hide away. Just,
Well,
go to your haven and hide if you need to be alone. Or, yeah, sure, RP somewhere, but I mean, it used to be kind of fun to just stumble in on people and be like, oh, awkward, I'm gonna go.
Well, I've got a few thoughts here. One, as a gem and hood owner, I turn them off if I want to be interacted with. Like if I want you to know where I am, I turn that shit off. I don't keep it on constantly. I have it on right now because I'm doing the stream and I don't want to be bothered, so I don't need people finding me. But I'm also in a house, so it really doesn't make much of a damn difference. I could go turn it back off. But two, like my actual idea that I think would be a good one, because I agree with Rosani. I don't think you should be able to hide if you're doing really stupid shit. So maybe like when you're in combat, it falls off. Why don't they start considering shouting to be a combat thing, and like hood and gem are temporarily negated when you're shouting. Like there's a brief, 10 seconds or something after you shout where it's just you can see where the person is. I think that's wholly okay. I think that'd be a good thing. If I'm shouting and being stupid, it's my own damn fault. So go find me.
Everybody has to
Yeah,
shout
very talk
purely from
shit,
north
get
of
hit.
trees.
Yeah, very much talk shit, get hit.
Remove shouts. Shout from north of trees.
Yes, there you go.
You have to take the 30 seconds off balance and get cleaved.
Ooh, I like that, Wyatt. Shouting gives an aggression timer. Ooh, yes.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
That would be nice.
That would be
permanently have
fantastic.
aggression timer.
Because, like, let's say if you're just like shouting about a sermon, you're about to give a sermon, so it doesn't particularly matter if you have an aggression timer. You're not planning to run away and hide.
No.
So it's like, whatever, go shout. Like,
yeah.
I just realized there's an artifact that lets you shout more. The bullhorn. I don't have that. I need to.
yeah.
Ooh, I haven't gotten that yet.
Someone fund me so I can shout endlessly.
How much was that one?
I'm aware that getting them out from under guards is the bigger issue, but it sure does help.
It does. Like you could still totally go in there if you've got Sizzin and do like some people do at other situations, get someone's translocator, give it to them, snap, make them translocate, and then go murder them. There you go. Problem with the guard solved.
Or Tusk.
Or use recently re-added dire call for some reason.
I don't miss dire
Can we
call.
discuss that?
Yeah,
we have an admin here. Wyatt, you're here. Can you explain to me whose dumbass idea that was?
Which one?
Maybe dire call.
For giving people back dire call.
When did that happen? Or
What's
it's
that-
probably
what's
always
dire
been
call?
there.
Recently, I was dire called fucking twice.
I think
in,
people
like,
just
a
forgot
matter
it
of
existed.
seconds.
I think people just forgot
No,
it existed.
got rid of it. I'm pretty sure I was here for when dire call was removed because people were abusing it.
Is that the archivist thing?
Yeah.
You are
Yes.
not at liberty to discuss. Okay.
So it's him. So it was him that caused it, basically.
Yeah, so Wyatt decided we would use dire call again.
That's fine.
What's wrong with it?
So here's my problem with dire call.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it was ever removed from what I can see.
I'm almost certain it
It's
was
gated
like
behind a quest.
I'm almost certain it's one of those things
Oh.
that like was removed, like setting fires. For
I
a
see
while,
it.
setting
There's a-
fires was removed as well.
Well, we just got spoilers that it's the quest, that post that came out. That's how it got added back. It's gated
Okay.
behind a quest.
So
You can tell me
let
privately. You can totally come tell me in like Discord, because I'm I'm so for it, Brooks. I am.
So let's talk about Dire Call and why I hate it. Dire Call irritates me because one, you can pull people out who are not in combat active areas into combat active areas and then just kill them, which has happened before, recently. And then you could just be like me, who is randomly dire called to places outside, like pulled out of a combat zone twice in a matter of less than a minute. Yes, this is related to you, Nipsey. This is related entirely to you. Being called. This also happened yesterday. Being dire called into fuck all nowhere, and then to the north of trees. A dire call is I guess the most frustrating to me because you can be anywhere.
Yep.
It's not like a lure where you have to have line of sight or something like that. You just do it. And it's nuts to me.
I loved it when I was a Kabbalist. I loved to randomly just dire call some people. So I can't say shit.
You would.
I would. I am that person.
You
I am
would.
that bitch. I loved it. I would do it constantly. Just go to like the most random ass place far away as I could possibly go and just dire call and be like, hi, bye, you know.
I remember this because you did this to me, and I was like, I have no idea where I am right now, and I don't know.
The biggest problem, Amal, with that is they switch places with you, and when it's Nipsey, he just runs back into Bloodlock, so I don't get the opportunity to trim the hedge, as it were.
Trim the hedge. That's bad.
Christ.
God.
I might have to get Archivist now. Just saying.
I am actually
just a dire call.
I need a new.
Can you make a custom dire call that's your trumpet?
That would be hilarious.
That would be fun.
That would be dope. Yeah.
I totally, absolutely need to make a shadow character. I have an itch for it, so there may be a chance that it's going to have to be an archivist just for this.
If you're alt dire calls me, I will behead you.
That's fine. I will have enough artifacts that I can GTFO. It'll be okay. I'll just run. I'll whale up that one too. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
How can you get to 200 and then be like, I'm gonna make a new character?
Yeah, I'm gonna make an alt.
I just as people keep joking, you know, Maz and everything joke with me. Just when I make the other character, I have to get it to 200 too. That's just how it goes.
Oh
If
God,
I ever get to 200, I am just never. Like, there's no other character ever. I'm done.
I can't do alt.
I can
just can't do
alt.
'em.
I can alt a little bit, but when I get frustrated, it does not go well for me, and that's why there are so many that are just retired. So they don't last, which is why I've honestly been avoiding making another one because everything's kind of a shit show right now that I'm like, it's probably not a good time. But I also
Wyatt,
like
I should specify, nothing that has happened to me is against game or PK rules. It just irritates the fuck out of me.
It's fantastic.
That's
don't
all.
don't let her tell you wrong. It's fantastic.
It just annoys the snot out of me, my dude.
The snot. Really? You gotta go with the snot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Any other complaints about Dire Call? Or any other skills while we're at it?
I just had to get that one off my chest.
Well, you other two, any skills you want to complain about then? It's a good question.
Very good question. Well, like most people, I sort of don't like shock. But that's not a skill.
No, but it's still I will accept that one because shock sucks balls. It does.
I mean, seriously, as a shapeshifter, bashing at this level that I am right now, it hasn't been easy. Well, because shapeshifters are squish.
Yeah.
And I've had to scale back on attacking in certain rooms because there have been too many aggro mobs. And I dropped down below 25% in health so quickly, it's ridiculous, meaning I can't run away. So for shapeshifters, it's sort of a tactic that you need to be able to use. You need to be able to hit and run. Even in PK, you retreat in order to make sure that you can stay on top of things and just run back in and continue your attacks. And this sort of thing, I sort of dread PKing as a shapeshifter after these changes. But bashing, I mean, it's bashing. If they could please remove this from at least PvE, that would be fantastic because shapeshifters are not the only glass cannons we have in the game. Praenomen and Sisson being some of them. It's it's really difficult to stay alive. And I talked to, I think it was Mjol, and I talked to Kurak when they were bashing, and I was like, okay, so how do you do? And they were like, oh, you just go in and you smack the shit out of things in there, and then you go to the next place. And they kept up a ridiculous amount of um, kills and were able to have a very high XP per hour count because they could kill things much faster than I could, even though I have a really high DPS. Because they could stand in a room and tank things. I had to skip rooms, 2 aggros, and I'm essentially dead. Uh, they were able to stand in rooms and be like, oh, 3 aggros and a few others, it's fine. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna run. And that's something that happens. Most of the times when I die, it's because one of the aggros just comes in after I've left the room and started hitting on something else, and they follow me in and they kill me. So, shock usually means that, yeah, I'm already too low, so I can't run. I'm not quick enough, and I can't move too many rooms away. I can go one room, but then all the aggros just keep following me. So,
Yeah, I feel this. I feel this really hard when, even when I was playing Zealot, and certain zones would just have way too many aggros in a few rooms where you would end up. And this is obviously not, near where you are. Unfortunately, like you can only handle one aggro versus just like with Majol and with Kurik, I could handle more like 3, 4,
yeah.
sometimes 5, depending on how many were in the room. But even then, it was very risky. I had to make sure as soon as I killed one of them, I ran out of the room. Otherwise, I would be dead, and I would have to be just pretty much on point. So I hated having
It
to
was
deal with
like,
shock so much, and I hated being
I'm lucky
told.
I can manage 3, but that's only, if, I have overkill and kill one of them very quickly and
Yep.
then have high crits so I can keep smacking them down. But,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I can't rely on that. So I've had to, put into the system to just skip rooms with more than one aggro.
Yep, I get that. And I was told in one of the streams that it should be no issue if you are manualing. And I'm like, this is not an issue of manualing or not. This is a matter of it's just too many things hitting you at one
Yeah.
time. That's all it is even if I'm manualing, which I would do frequently in certain
Even if
zones
I'm
for this
sitting there,
reason, you still
yeah.
get it regardless.
Even if I'm sitting there and I'm typing in QEB, queuing up, dashing from the room,
Yeah,
it is not enough.
it really isn't.
I just die. But they mentioned something about adding in something in the hunting skill,
Yeah,
which could counter this, but they haven't actually added it in, meaning that it's still an issue.
yeah.
The
It'll,
most troubling thing for me was when I heard that it hits newbies and lowbies because
yeah,
they need to experiment. They need to check and go into areas with slightly higher, damage output successively just to see where do I fit in and which area is possible for me to bash without dying. And when they get hit too hard, they can't just run back and save themselves. It means that they die.
Yeah.
So that's the main issue I have with this. Okay, fine, I can die. It's whatever right now because I'm at this level. Sure, it's more than half an hour constantly bashing and buffers going too fast, but lowbies and newbies, they should not have to deal with that.
I agree.
I wasn't terribly worried about it until I was doing Portent, and the avatar does a bunch of damage, and then you get
Oh,
Void
yeah.
Mark, and you have Shock, and you can't leave.
Oh, I hated that. I've only done Portent once, and I did it on my craptop, which is my laptop that has like a version of Sunder that's probably over a year old, so it's really shitty. And I was doing it with Fal and Sizian, so they're both 200. I'm 199. I'm not quite 200 yet, but we're handling it pretty well until certain damages hit. And I got shock, and I don't think I ended up dying, luckily, but just because the mechanics changed and I was able to survive. But it was pretty scary sitting there trying to do it. Just for shock. I was like, oh god, I'm gonna die.
Feeling that if I enter Portent and try to do anything in there as a wolf, I'm basically dead by them staring at me. So
Well, just go
that's
with
going to be interesting.
Just go with Dorif and Mazian. Make sure that you go with some 200s and you'll be fine. They'll do all the
They can
hard
save
work.
me because glass cannon. I'm just they breathe on me and I'm falling down.
Yep. Okay. Well, shock aside, Rurin, did you have a skill that you absolutely hate besides Dire Call and the affliction of shock?
Oh, yes. Okay, I have one. It's not that I hate it, I just want it.
Okay.
Oh, God.
I hate that Sentinel can shoot ghost arrows from anywhere in the area. Makes me want to die. Like that's awesome, but I just want that because ghost arrows are so good, and a ghost arrow falling on me from the sky is like the thing that I hate most in this world.
Oh my.
Well, you got it. That's what the doctor ordered, so I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
Ugh.
Okay. And
Ghost
Brooks
arrows.
just
Valerie griefs me.
Brooks, why? He just sent me plates of spicy mun blood cakes.
Ew, that sounds gross.
It does.
Yeah, it sure does.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
That's nasty.
Ugh.
Can't believe somebody's gonna get PK'd over food.
Well, if I bother to try to PK, I have to decide if I want to make that effort because I don't really have a lot of my code set up to do 1v1. Yeah, I probably would die. But hey, I might do it anyway. Could be entertaining. Let's see. I was trying to think if I had a skill that I actually hate. I know what Ted Rooney's used to be because it used to be Shed. Mazian, I know what his is, but I really can't think of one that I absolutely hate. Besides maybe, what is it?
Dire Call, me too.
No, definitely not Dire Call. Dire Call's the best. What are you talking about? Sciomancy, what is it? Or AB Gravitation. What is that thing called? Retardation. I've always hated retardation.
Wait, but it doesn't like do.
It doesn't do the same thing anymore, but I still hate it just for the sheer fact that I used to hate it before. I'm always going to hate retardation.
The
I see.
Retardation was, that one was insane.
Yeah, I would hate when Zuacodal would like drag you to go PK and he would just have it up and then he would combine it. And this is just going above and beyond to over explain what his like mindset was. He would try to do everything to lag your system out, like send a bunch of sometimes fake illusion shit.
Move.
No, he was a dick. He was like the dick of dicks. He was the worst with that shit.
Move.
And he got into trouble with it for a few cases.
I
at
have
least.
no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, but he would totally just try to lag your system out so that it would come to his advantage so he could kill you, even though you were technically just stuck there in retardation trying to cure yourself and not curing anything because you were given fake afflictions and stuff. I
I just
hated it.
this is not
Remember,
gonna be popular, but I love retardation.
I
Well, that
remember
sounds
the
right.
good old days when Osai was sitting in retardation vibes and starving everyone.
Oh, I remember that
Oh,
too. God, just sitting there. And
couldn't do
Vora.
anything else.
The other one
That
was
was the
Voria. When you would do that, you would get them
yeah,
in retardation and just, do a little stabby stab with some Voria and try to make sure to keep them with that so
yeah,
they die with it. Yeah, good times. Good times.
yeah,
The
Kind of like where people put them to
retardation
sleep.
AoE.
yeah. That was
Every
the. I mean, back then it was kind of fun because we had. I felt like we were more involved, ideally, with speaking about curatives and holding lessons and everything. We had in the Paladins at the time, now Templar, um, Venom Lock lessons where we were
yes.
discussing and testing out and showing how to how to perform and what kind of venoms to use to create a venom lock, and
Oh,
also demonstrating how to get out of it. And I remember afflicting a fellow knight with everything up to a venom lock, and then to show off how to cure it, you would stick them with Voria, and then they would get out with fitness and everything. The only problem was that one time when we did this, the other knight didn't have all the curatives, so um, he was standing there being like, "Oh shit, I don't have any.
yeah.
I I, I don't have any epidural. I
Whoops.
don't have any curatives. This is gonna be bad." And then splat, he died from Voiria
Nice.
inside the Paladin Guild Hall, with a bunch of other people being around, and was like, "What just happened?" And we're like, "Oh, no problem. I'm just gonna rush to the tier and revive." Oops.
Oh my God. That reminds me of me being noob checked by a newbie. I was probably, it was old years ago. I was probably somewhere between level 60 and 80 when that was pretty impressive back in those days. And I was at
Oh yeah.
Knot. And I just remember this so vividly because I was just fucking embarrassed about it. But I was talking to this guy and I'm like, yeah, no, it's just a newbie. They can't kill me. I've got so much health and all this other shit. And they absolutely venom locked me and killed me with Voria because they bound me and I didn't I didn't riv in time and all of that. So yeah, they totally Voria killed me right there at Knot, and they were like level 15 or something. They had
Yeah.
the skills to do it, but yeah, I totally got killed by a level 15. He got a couple levels off of it. It was fantastic. Um,
Well,
Bringing
there
back
you go.
all the nightmares, like there's that, and then this is going to bring back memories for T. The triggers for paralysis, where you
Oh
had to
yeah.
have multiple
Oh, the
versions with the
asterisk.
asterisk in there, so you could make sure to say
Oh,
this is this version where it has the asterisk right here in this A word, and then you got to shift it over and have another one for the one right there because there wasn't
yeah.
like
No, no. This one, and if you forgot one of them, you were screwed
you were
because
screwed.
that one would end up being the only one triggering, and you would lose the fight.
Oh, I hated that so much because that was even back in the day. I didn't know enough about Perl regex and everything anyway. So
I had no idea about coding, and I think
yeah,
I was on. Was it on Zmud? I think.
yeah, it was absolutely Z mud back then. But yes, your muscles are seized up by a prickly, tingling sensation, having to put an asterisk basically in every fucking one of those words for every fucking letter, except for possibly the Y at the front. I think that was the only one that never got affected by the
That one
asterisk.
was always the same, but the
Yeah.
rest of them was like, okay, so the asterisks could be just about anywhere,
Oh,
and you had all of them. Or when you learned how the wild cards worked, you could do that. But
yeah,
yeah,
but I didn't know for the longest time. So I had, what is that? I'm guessing probably 20 characters, so like 20 different versions or something. It was a lot.
yeah.
It was a very very long trigger.
Also, eating curatives with aliases.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no triggers using them, but actually having eat golden seal.
Yep. Yep. And you had to mostly your triggers for echoes to remind you to eat stuff rather than them actually doing it, because if you weren't careful with the eating orders or the eating balance and everything, just like now with free first aid and everything, you just were completely screwed, because eating 5 carrots every time might have been stupidity.
Typing skills improved a lot because I had to type so quickly.
Yes. It's like people are like, "Oh, you type so fast." I'm like, I
Yeah,
have
that's
to play.
because otherwise I don't stay alive in this text game.
Yes, exactly. It's like gotta practice.
Yeah, stupidity eating cures like crazy just to make sure that you stay alive.
So, did we have any other topics for this week, or are we looking to wrap up, or what's the situation?
Okay, sorry. Nostalgia from us old people over here, you know.
Yeah. Well, Weirin and I get it. You guys are old. We get it.
We understand.
We're sorry.
We understand.
We're old fuckers. It's okay. Actually, at this point,
it was Joel who actually manually cured everything, including PK and curatives and everything.
yeah, but Joel absolutely was just manual and a beast. He was a beast.
He was a beast. He was.
Does somebody have that meme where it's like an old lady and somebody's like, "Okay, let's get you to bed, Grandma."
Wow.
Yeah.
You motherfucker. Wow. I am mildly offended, but not quite enough.
I just took it off. I don't look the part.
Yeah, right. Rerun's gonna come kick my ass.
I'm too short. Like, this is where Wyatt should come in and start making the short jokes with me. Because background, I'm only like 4'9", 4'9" so I'm very short.
Oh, thank God, somebody I'm taller than.
Yeah, it's like I can punch someone in the groin, but I'm not really kicking anyone's ass. I may be able to like face bump.
Oh, she would have to do a backflip to kick someone's ass.
I would have to like climb onto a ladder and like my husband's tall, so
but I am tall compared to her. I have a picture of me leaning against her head.
You absolutely do, because you look like a towering so much over me. Anyway, I am trying. Yeah, sorry I couldn't hear you from down there. Thank you. There, I got my short joke. I do want to go back to what Rosani said, which is the fact that, we don't have any more topics. That was really the main topics I wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to cover today. And I don't know if you guys want to stick around. I don't know what else you have plans for today, but we could see if there's anything the audience wants, or we could go ahead and kind of wrap up here. It has been 2 hours, which is not too bad.
Yeah. No, I found if people have any questions or stuff, because I'm not going anywhere for about an hour.
I have well, I don't have D&D. Somebody I live with has D&D soon. So I'm going to call it so that I can be quiet and respectful of their D&D game.
Okay.
But this was lovely. I'll probably be on Tuesday. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, this was great. I'm glad that we got something started back up again.
Me too. Yeah.
I'll probably have to head out too.
Yeah, I figured, you probably would too. So yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it here for this week. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys. I really appreciate you guys all coming out, and thank you all to the listeners and coming and hanging out with us. We will be on again Tuesday, most likely, obviously me, potentially Rasani, and possibly Brooks. Nipsey may be there as well. If you're interested, make sure to check out the Discord. Hit me up. You can come on. We have no qualms. There's no bars holding anyone from coming on, so we'd be more than glad to have you. Anyway, have a lovely rest of your weekend. We will see you all again on Tuesday, and thanks again, everyone. Bye.
Bye, friends.